Okay, I'll do that, but just before I do that, all right, guys, thank you once again, and welcome to another edition of Channels Beans Google Plus Hangout. And today we're looking at what the Nigerian Dream is. 54 years after independence, so much has happened, but what is going to happen going forward? Is there a dream? What exactly is that dream? Milio Wokikio, you're calling from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you for joining the Hangout.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, so let's just start with you before we get to Blossom and Goddy. What's your take on this? Where exactly are we, and where do you think we're going to?
Wow, Nigeria. It's been a great journey, 54 years to be precise. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and we're a country that has a lot of potentials, but for now, we have not yet achieved any of those. Fine, we have tried, we've achieved some feats here and there, but if you look at the journey so far, I think we could have done better, than what we're presently experiencing at the moment.
All right, cool. So, Blossom, let me come to you.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I mean, talking about, he just made mention of achievements, some and not all. We believe we still have we're still going somewhere. But what's your thoughts? What do you think about our journey so far and where we're going to?
Our journey so far has been filled with a lot of ups in the sense that in every generation you come across people that are visionaries, that are progressives and all that. And of course, you also come across those that just want to live for the moment. They really don't. They really don't want to bother about what would happen tomorrow and for the generations unborn. So you have this over time. So in the 54 years of our existence, as an independent nation, my take is we've had a few lone voices that has been championing for change, but unfortunately, probably the resounding of their voice wasn't enough to actually get what they wanted for to achieve. So that's what I see, and I see a lot more people that are just comfortable with the status quo, not because it's favoring them, it's favoring a few, but because they don't even know the law that guides demanding for something. So everybody just believes that everything is okay, it is the will of God. So nobody goes out of their way to probably make demands and insist that things go right. Let me explain that a bit. We don't have a culture in Nigeria of realizing that we can actually place a demand for something and get it. So we just have this comfortability attitude that is enshrined within what I call the acquiescence culture. Always respect your elders and all that. And if you step out of your way to do otherwise, then you are deemed as being rude, or you are deemed as not being African or Nigerian enough. So that's part of the challenges we've had so far.
All right, Blossom. So, Goddy, let me come to you now. Talking about challenges, how do we go past some of these challenges that are found right now?
Well, thank you for this. I think that we have been dealing with a lot of challenges, and every day we acknowledge that we do have challenges and issues, and a lot of things have been done. A lot of committees, a lot of think tank organization has been set up for us to really address some of our issues. We keep making a vision or planning for something for for 10 years in advance and stuff like that, and we get to that time and we look back, we'll see that we haven't actually realized or achieved a single thing out of what we have. That is because we do not have a proper structure where we follow up on plans that we have set up. Now, if we say we are 54 years at the moment, and how do we measure against them in comparison with other countries that are in the same bracket as we are? Are we actually doing fine? We keep priding ourselves as the country where some other nations, for example, Malaysia came and took whatever palm seed and they have become a great nation. Singapore has moved ahead of Nigeria. South Africa is far, far ahead of Nigeria. And where the countries that we are actually struggling with, to compete against are countries like Kenya and countries like other smaller nations in Africa. We should actually be ashamed of ourselves. I believe that when we got independence, we actually had the right direction, and the forerunners of the country, the people who started at that time, did have a vision for our country to be great. They did very well, but then something happened along the line. And now, until we address this issue, what really happened before now, we will not be able to actually go forward, because at 54, we are still agitating on the same topics, the same thing that happened in 1966 to 1970. We are still talking about the same thing that happened in 1988 to 1983. We are still talking about the same thing that happened in 1976, where the military coup. We are still talking about the same thing, that it actually truncated whatever progress, whatever advancement that was put in place. We have still not decided to move forward. We are still talking about identity. We're still not addressed if we want to be, or if we want to be a nation, if we want to be one country. We're still, clamoring for separating all the units. So after 54 years of hard life, I would say, for our country, the question is how, like you've asked, how do we move forward? And we cannot move forward if we really do not address some of those issues. If we do not ask ourselves if we really want to move forward, if we still want to continue to dwell on the past has happened and is gone. Can we really think about the future? Can we really look about the structure of our society? How in 2014 that we still have some problems that could easily be solved, something like cholera, So this does not tell well of a country as big as ours, a country with so much potential and resources. So addressing the challenges of now and looking ahead and positioning ourselves in the future can only happen if we really, really truthfully search our souls and say, these are the issues that we have that we want to address. Otherwise, we'll keep talking about the same thing. We'll come back to religion, we'll come back to ethnic crisis, and then we'll still come back in the next 10 years, we'll still be speaking about the same thing.
All right. So, Blossom, let me come back to you. Is there a dream? Do you think there's a Nigerian dream? What exactly is it?
I don't believe there's a Nigerian dream, because you don't just wake up and start dreaming. You dream and then you wake up to realize your dream. So over the years, we've actually gotten it wrong. We've gotten it wrong in the sense that we've not really seen the law of cause and effect take real action in things. So what we see is a lot of young people, their basic dream is to mostly to go to school. Of course, it's not everybody that would have the opportunity of getting an education. Mostly to go to school, come out, get a job, raise a family, and then the cycle continues. And in between, we have this tendency to provide for ourselves. So everything we need, we tend to provide, because the tax system is not even effective enough to really place a demand that the government should make all those provisions. So we're comfortable to make self-provisions for ourselves. So we dream just within the circle of me, myself, and I, me, my family, and I. Me, my immediate constituency, and so there is no dream. The dream we have are individualistic dreams that are targeted towards the particular aims and objectives that the individual has set for himself or herself. So we don't have this collective dream that should be able to guide our actions as individuals. So that's why we always have this problem of, people complain about things if that thing has a propensity, to affect them at their own point of view, in their own immediate environments. If something is happening and it has nothing to do with them, there wouldn't be any effect on their person, then you would hardly see people go all out, maybe to call that particular thing out. And that is a pointer to the fact that there is no collective dream. I'm an when we all gather to urinate at a spot, it foams better. But then you can come together to urinate at a spot when there is no collective dream, when there is no collective agenda. So we all talk about unity, unity of system, unity of the nation and all that. But I think it's all lip service, because deep down, bottom line, we're yet to come to the state where we can actually see ourselves as true Nigerians without bringing in the tribe card, without bringing in the religious card, and even recently without bringing in the political party affiliation card. When there is a dream, these lines would be thinned out. They would not make any, they wouldn't even be recognized. So as of today, there is no dream. There is no dream, I'm sorry.
Well, sad as that is, while you were speaking, Goddy was actually giggling, and I knew he had something to say. But then, he, even without prompting, he has already said that in the chat box. So I would also implore that you guys use the chat box in case you have something to say, or a point to make, or a point to add to what a speaker is saying. But Goddy, before I come to you, let me hear from Ileo. If you can hear us. He's been complaining about network issues, and I understand with him. Ileo, are you there? We can't hear you, Leo.
Okay. Now, let me just say some things about what Blossom said.
Okay.
We really don't have anything like Nigerian dream. In the US, there's something you call the American dream. Everybody wants the nation to be great while you're also developing yourself and assisting your fellow humans. But over here, it's not like that. Look at the issues we've had since independence, or shortly after independence. The first school we had. Now, if you go to the Nigerian schools, they've washed all of that out of our history. Nobody knows anything about the Nigerian. Now, how do we progress if we don't know where we're coming from? How do we know what we're going to? If you don't know our history, and today those issues keep repeating. You have writers writing about it. We have people making films about it. We know recently a film was put them to edit some things. We have serious issues in this country because of our past, and yet we have not learned anything from those things. More than ever before, the country is divided. It's divided along ethnic lines. It's divided along religion and tribal line. But it is a pity. Now, if you're not united, like Blossom said, we cannot have a Nigerian dream. Now, if you meet people, the first thing they tell you is, where you from? Well, this one tell you is an Igbo man. This one tell you is an Hausa man. This one tells you is a Yoruba man. And even inside those tribes, they still tell you I'm from a particular state. I'm from a particular local government. If there's something I've always agitated for in all of my writings, I'd always agitated for the state of your state of origin, to be removed. If you can have a state of residency, it would even be better. It would unite us more. And you see, from national conference, what were people clamoring for? They wanted more states that was not viable, to sustain itself. So there's nothing like a Nigerian dream. Everybody is just doing whatever he or she wants. Everybody is doing whatever is going to add more money to the account. We're all greedy set of folks, and we don't want United Nations. Now, if you still get some part of the country today, you still want some people who are still clamoring for independence from Nigeria. And I'm sure if there's a referendum like Scotland did in some part of the country today, you will be shocked the result of such a referendum. So there are some basic things we need to address before we start talking about Nigerian Dream. There's nothing like Nigerian Dream as far as I'm concerned.
Wow, that's another sad one. But then, Goddy, let me just come to you. You had already earlier indicated interest to speak about this. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I do agree with what Blossom and Ilo was said in that there is no Nigerian dream, but I'm going to say that in a way which is kind of sarcastic, that there is a Nigerian dream. And the Nigerian dream is to win a visa lottery and go to America, get a visa, go to UK. If you have money, go and buy a house, send your children, get, if you have somehow stumbled upon 5 million naira that you didn't account for, just go and buy the latest technology or the latest car. Put a better sound system, let your neighbor know that you have arrived. Do all those things. These are the type of dreams that are, unfortunately, are the Nigerian dreams, and we see how it is affecting our mentality, our attitude in the whole system. Just I don't know the numbers, but I can vouch that there is hardly anyone in Nigeria that has made money in close to more than half a billion naira that has not thought about going to buy a house abroad, that has not thought about going and spend this money lavishly. Look at the Nigerian dream now, to go to Dubai and have a wedding, to go to some countries, and just go lavish money. These are the type of dreams which has nothing to do with positioning our system, our society, our educational sector, our health sector to become viable, to become strong. So yes, I do agree with the guys that there is no Nigerian dream. But on the other hand, it is because this is the type of dreams that the Nigerians are having. That is why we have not been able to have that dream. Like you said, that United Americans have been fighting for the nation. Nigerians now, will ask yourself, why do you fight for your nation when your nation cannot actually recognize you? When if tragedy strikes, there is not even a councillor from your local government cannot even pay you a visit, or your family a visit. So there is indeed no Nigerian dream. The dreams that we have are the type of dreams which I have highlighted now as individual dreams, the things that we think that is important for us to achieve. So until we begin to really ask ourselves, what is a Nigerian dream? Is everything about money? Is everything about me positioning myself in a way that I can be more intimidating and more influential, that people will now respect and fear me? Look at the way we treat people in our society. As long as someone arrives with a very nice car and dresses very well, we don't even ask questions. We just hail the person in a show more than respect. It doesn't matter if the person cannot even address or speak a coherent English. We will just shower the person with lots of praise and give with a lot of reverence. And it is this same attitude that we are taking into religion, because we believe that one day God will open it for us and our own will better. And it is, you see how it is that people are congregating a lot. I'm not saying that being a religious person is bad, but because we have not asked ourselves what are the fundamental issues, the fundamental questions. How do we hold people accountable to give us that basic things we dream about? Having clean water, having school that is close by, and being able to go to school. When I was going to primary school, I had the privilege of even getting milk and all those beverages during break time and stuff like that. How to have those things that parents do not have to go sweat and do a lot of things, to go hustle and go do things to get extra money to pay to send their kids to more expensive school, because you believe that sending your kid to a better school is more important than actually solving the issues where the schools of the poor kids can benefit from. So these are the things that we need to address, and before we move forward, we really have to see these things.
All right. I hope we do see these things just like you said. We see them in the best possible way so that we can move past it. But then we're just about rounding this conversation up, just like I said when I was sending the invites to some of you. Blossom, let me just come to you now. In wrapping up, what would be your last words?
Okay, my last word is actually like a wake-up call to young people, and by young people, I mean people that are 35 years and below, not those above that. It's a wake-up call to them to realize that there is no dream that they can just wake up to live. So and the onus falls on us to actually see ourselves as the custodians of tomorrow, But then that tomorrow, if we keep looking at it in the lines of you are the leaders of tomorrow, then that tomorrow is not going to come. So the best thing we can do for ourselves is to more or less not really to disalienate ourselves from the older generation, but to realize that if we don't do something today, then the tomorrow would become elusive. Elusive in the sense that we would get to tomorrow in our 50s. We are still struggling to be relevant. We are still struggling to probably have one political office or the other. So if we don't shake off that toga of youth today, then we're not going to have any relevance. I'll be turning 33 in December. And as far back as 3 years ago, I told anyone who cared to listen that I'm no more a youth, because if you keep brandishing that youth currency, it places its own limitations on you. Nobody is going to ever take you serious. So the earlier we realize that we are not just youths anymore, but we are, that the future of Nigeria lies on our shoulders, then it's easier for us to find a way to unite our voices. That there was something that happened on social media some weeks back. It's about the 30% or nothing conversation, where a group was saying no, that being a youth is not just the currency, that you cannot vote for someone just because the person is a youth. And I actually laughed at that kind of easy dismissal, because what I saw for the first time was young people that came up to demand that enough of tagging us as youths. It's now time for you to give us responsibilities as youths. And then you're not just giving us these responsibilities because we are young people, but you are giving us these responsibilities because we on our own will realize that we can do this. So all we need is just an opportunity to showcase the strengths and all that. So the young people in this country should stop allowing themselves to be tools in the hands of those that have made our country what it is today, that have made our country the impoverished, state that it is today, and realize that if we keep allowing ourselves to be used as tools of this unity, they would certainly, yeah, I'm not God, but then it's just assumed that if somebody comes into this world before you, the person should leave before you. So what that means is that by the time this person leaves, you are left with disunited young people who unfortunately would have gone into their 40s, into their 50s, without still getting it right. So the time has come for us as young people to say enough is enough. I will showcase my strength where I find myself, and I would not allow any politician, elderly politician, or those that have held our country ransom, to dictate how I talk, how I live my life, and how I make demands for good governance and all that. That's a step towards dreaming big, and I think we can do it if we allow ourselves to do it.
All right, Blossom, I hope we do allow ourselves to do it, just like you said. But then while we were talking, Ileo in the group chat said, see, we are talking about effect, not cause. The problems, he asks, is deeply rooted in our core. And he also says that no one gives you power. You take power. I don't know. Well, I hope that will not be through violent means. But then, Ileo, let me now come to you. What's your last word, just in wrapping up now?
Yeah, just like laughing. No one gives you power.
Okay.
You take power.
All right.
We are a greedy set of human beings, and if you think some of these old politicians will just sit down and say, okay, 30% of the votes, let's give it to you, I think it really doesn't. They wouldn't even do that. And to me, it doesn't really make much sense. Why should they give you power just because you're youth? If you're youth, you really want power, all you will need to do is come together. We can see what is happening in Hong Kong today. They demand democracy. And those are kind of things we need to do. For us to change some things in this country, we need to really have some radical revolution. It might not necessarily be bloody, but at least we have to demand some things by force, by us uniting. You can't just go and cap in hands to the politicians and tell them, please give us 30%. They'll see us unserious human beings. But imagine 10 million youth or 20 million youth or 50 million youth in this country are coming together and they are only voting for youth. They have no choice. We might even take more than that 30%. We might take 70. We might take 90. But we need to unite. But like I said earlier, our problems are very, very, they are deeply rooted. And so it's not just about we coming together alone. There's the issue of poverty, which will make youth always go back to the politicians, to the rich, corrupt politicians, and they always give them money to change things in their favor. So nobody will give you power by you demanding. You take it, unite together and take it. And having said that, on a final note, I have a dream for this country. It is not what I'm saying. I have a dream in such a way that on a particular in a particular time in the future, the American president will come to Nigeria to come and spend his holiday. At the moment, they go to Matters Vineyard. That's where the American president goes for their holidays. But where does ours go? They go outside the country, they fly over there, for their medical tourism, holidays, and all that. And I see a dream. I see a day where our Nigerian president will go to a place like Obudu Ranch, to rest for a weekend or something. I have a dream that it will come to a time in this country where we will not only fly outside, for medical tourism, but those outside will fly into this place. And just this morning, I was reading NEMA, the Nigerian Emergency Management Authority, said that there are 116,000 displaced persons in Yobe State alone. Now imagine that we do not value lives in this country. I remember when a disaster that happened at TB Joshua's church recently happened. South Africa had to send people. They had to send planes to come and fly out their citizens. There are a lot of people rotting outside the country. We don't give a damn. There are a lot of people dying in the desert, trying to get to Italy, trying to get to Europe. We don't give a damn about lives, and yet things continue. And yet we say we have politicians who want to contest for the 2015 elections. They are not talking about issues. They are not talking about the things they need to talk about. The only thing they talk about is religion. Is our son is some social place we were supporting. Oh, the bar must go to this part of this. They are peripheral issues. They are issues that doesn't add to our life. So I'm hoping that all these things will change, but it wouldn't really change except we ourselves, sit down within and begin to change individually. Thank you, Victor.
All right, Emilio. Well, also, just like you said, I hope that we get to that stage where individual change, is being carried out, in the country and amongst the young people. But then let's now come to you, Gaudia, and let's hear what you have to say in wrapping up this conversation.
Well, I do share the views of my fellow contributors there that would love to have a vision or a dream of our country and see how some of those things happen. And I'll say, like the last speaker did say, many things are really wrong in our system. I saw the tweet, the Twitter campaign about 30% or nothing. But I put it this way: our problem is not either it's a youth or it's an adult that is occupying the position. Our problem is how our mentality towards everything, how we handle things, what is our constitution say or gives us the power the constitution gives people when they occupy offices. How many young people have we heard in the history of our country since democracy that have been indicted for one corrupt act or the other? That some of them have actually been paid money to get out of the whole issue, and some actually were, sent to prison. The issue is not if we get 30% or not. The issue is how to deal with the way we run things. If I become a president today, can I really ignore the federal character quota and just go and look for competent people, irrespective of the majority of them are Northerners or majority of them are Southerners, and I don't think about which ethnic group is being represented, and I would not listen, and I would ban any campaign on the newspaper that is going to be talking about or anything that is going to talk about anything? Can we really do that? You see, we are first Nigerians before we become politicians, and it is with the politicians, we cannot expect them to change if we do not change as individual Nigerians. And we cannot get that dream if we do not begin to put things right. So our problem will continue to remain like that. if we do not address so many issues, so many things. We have too many people in government that does nothing. And like Ileo has said, they have made a lot of people perpetually poor so that you will continue to beg them. I say that so many Nigerians, in fact, we are naturally beggars. We beg for our own thing. We are begging for one favor or the other. And because of that, we do not want to upset the apple cart. We do not want to say things that will make you not to, get anything. I remember, once the Senate head of Senate, they came here and we had a meeting and they are talking about Nigeria is a blessed country, Nigeria is a blessed country, and like, this, that, if you want to be something, you should come early because the queue is long. And I'm like saying, Nigeria is not the only blessed country in the world. Even here I am is a blessed country. I know people who I graduated with a long time ago, they didn't find any reasonable job. You would say a country is blessed when they are able to harness all the resources and potentials that they have to make it a viable nation. We are destroying our country and running to other places and taking our investments over there. Look at Dubai. Look at what has happened over 50 years, what they have done there. Look at Qatar. These are countries we have to look at in terms of their natural resources. They used what they have to get themselves there. If we stop doing certain things, there will be enough money to get people well paid, that people will not begin to think about dubious things to make themselves more richer, because the only mentality we have is the more I get, the more I am able to influence people and influence things and become more important. So until we begin to make it that people who lead us are ordinary persons who could have headache and cross to the next shop and stop in his car and buy paracetamol without people gathering and saying, "Oh God, give us money, give us money," then we will begin. Just Blossom lives in the UK, and she knows what I'm saying. That the people who are actually members of the parliament or who are politicians, you can see that some of them will come out and ride a bicycle with their family, and they are going on the weekend. Nobody is actually bothering them and stuff like that. They are ordinary citizens. So our country needs to begin to reshape its whole thing, and it has to come from the head. It has to come from the top, because irrespective of the political party, there is going to be the same ideology, the same way. Unless someone comes and say we have to stop it this way, we have to be prudent, we have to cut so many unnecessary things that actually we are wasting money on. There is enough money, if the resources are put right, that can take care of everybody in the country, and people don't need to be poor.
All right, Gordy, thank you for that. Thank you. Ileo also dropped a comment in the chat box. It says he believes it's over because he can't either see any of us nor hear, or hear rather. But then the conversation is about it when going off. Blossom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Well, but then anytime we have this conversation, I always have the feeling that the future of this country is very bright. But then we end this conversation on this note, and we convene again when this kind of issues arise, so that we can look at it from another point and another perspective. Thank you once again for joining. Gordy Wogu, you're in Prague, Czech Republic. Blossom, you're in London, or where exactly are you?
I'm in Coventry.
Oh, Coventry. All right, great. So thank you once again for joining the Hangout, and goodbye for now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.